Hey guys, happy Wednesday. So thanks for watching and commenting on my video yesterday. My video today is going to be about bankruptcy and foreclosure. So let me first start out by telling you that it's not that I say this, I'm gonna get my coffee, sorry. It's not that I say this like I'm bragging about what I'm going through. I'm just telling you the situation's real. I'm being brutally honest here. So my father got diagnosed with cancer in 2018. It was stage 4 colon cancer, and they said it was treatable but not curable. So I did all the research I could do, and because come hell or high water, my dad wasn't going anywhere, regardless of what they said. So I had a retirement from working for the phone company for 15 years. I cashed it out and went to work on Saving Daddy. And read some stuff from Suzanne Summers. Don't know if I can say that, but you know, she had a book. I bought a book about her. I learned some stuff about reishi and turkey tail and lion's mane mushrooms and stuff like that, and soursop. And I did a little bit of non-traditional with this traditional because he wanted to do traditional, like chemo and stuff, and it was actually immunotherapy, and I didn't know enough. It was a learning curve for me, the cancer, so I didn't know enough to tell him one way or another. I just knew that I had to do what I could to save him. So we did a little bit of traditional with, or a lot of traditional with a little bit of natural. And his numbers were coming down. He was doing really good. But you know, and not at first, not any of the normal setbacks that you see with people who have cancer. He wasn't going in and out of the hospital. He was bouncing back. His hair came out, but it came back, and it came back darker. It looked like he was gonna, you know, beat this after all. And he was on immunotherapy. There's another topic right there. So Dad had Medicare, was fully covered, had an Advantage plan. I'm an insurance agent, and I'm gonna make a video about that too. But a lot of times Part B covers 80%. That's even with your Advantage plan. So you think 80%, okay, that's great. 80% of a $3,000 treatment every 2 weeks is a lot. Sometimes even more than that. I can't even remember. The prices were all so staggering and so expensive. If I were to tell you that I remember every time they threw a treatment at me and what it was going to cost, that I remember the price, I don't. Because I would just, the very first one, when he first started seeing his oncologist, the price was so staggering that I literally, and I was working for an insurance company as an agent, not a broker, but one company, but I won't say the name. And I went in the break room to fight with this big pharma company because honestly, it was crazy. I want to say 18,000, maybe 20,000 a treatment. So, but the oncologist said without that treatment, he wouldn't make it, that immunotherapy. And I'm not a doctor, but all my years of insurance and caring for my parents, I do have a lot of knowledge of medicines and illnesses, and not really stuff I want to have in my head. But anyway, so I went in on a non-scheduled break to fight with this big pharma company. I can't even remember who it was now. I don't want to throw anybody out there, but actually they were really good. They ended up giving my dad the medicine for nothing. And come to find out that when they do that stuff, yeah, it is a blessing, and it is you are thankful that they do it, but at the same time that they write all that off. So it's really no skin off their back, and cancer is $1 billion industry. So he started doing better. His hair came back. It came back darker. He was doing really good. And then, you know, he used to call his chemo bag because when they do chemo, they have to wear their bag for a couple days after they do chemo. And he would call his bag Charlie. And some of the time he was staying here. I learned, you know, he stayed with me so I could care for him because my mom already had her illnesses going on. So, you know, fighting all these pharma companies. I was going to put him on Medicaid because this was so expensive. I was going to see if he qualified for Medicaid, but his oncologist said if he got Medicaid, he wouldn't see him anymore. So then you're stuck with, this is a really good oncologist. He was recommended by the hospital. And we live, not far from Moffitt, and he practiced at Moffitt. So I didn't want to take him away from his oncologist. So there was that. So, he brought Charlie home. He was doing good. I drove him everywhere, took him everywhere. We went out to dinner. This was pre-COVID. We went out to dinner. If I went shopping, I drag him with me because I had always heard from people that I wrote insurance for, you don't sit around with cancer. You move, keep going. So I kept him busy, kept him on the go. And then in 19, I broke my leg. Broke my tibia in half, broke and shattered my ankle, and my heel. I've got nails and pins in me, screws. My daughter said, don't think of them like the ones you put in your door, but it's still weird to think that that's all from my right knee down. So still took care of my dad, hobbling up and down the hall with my crutches. But I was selling insurance to teachers at the time. I'd left the insurance company and I was doing teachers insurance, going into the schools and traveling and selling it to them. Well, you can't do anything when it's your right leg that's broken because you can't drive. Even the orthopedic who did my surgery on my leg and who was I was seeing for all my appointments, he said, no, you can't drive. I was in a cast from my foot to my knee. So I was down. Okay, it kind of gave me more time to take care of Dad, even though I was trying to figure out how to take care of me. I couldn't just jump in the shower. My daughter kind of had to help me out a little bit. But it gave me more time to take care of Daddy. And I went on disability for a little while because of a broken leg. And then COVID hit and things got locked down. So schools were locked down. So now selling the insurance meant calling teachers at home and trying to sell them insurance while they were teaching their children from home and while they were teaching their school children from home, their personal kids and their school kids. So could you imagine calling them and trying to push insurance on them while they're in that pickle? So I went ahead and left, and that's when I cashed out my retirement and to take care of Dad and myself being down. And it doesn't take long to go through money when you're not working. It takes the place of your income. So, and the world got crazy with COVID. You couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't do anything. I couldn't take Daddy out anywhere. So that's when I kind of started seeing a decline with Dad a little bit. Because I think the movement going out helped him. He ended up going back to his home with my mom and my brothers. And I still took care of, any kind of fights with pharmaceutical companies or anything like that, or the insurance, or trying to get him food stamps, because I'm not trying to say we were trying to be on assistance, but cancer is expensive. I sometimes wonder if there's even a cure because there's so much money to be made off of it. And so I still took care of that. I tried to get food stamps. I think I was getting like $16 a month for both parents. And then the more frequent hospital stays started coming. And he had to go to the hospital a lot. And when he first got diagnosed before COVID, I slept there every night. I'm not kidding. I slept in a recliner right beside his bed. And sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night, forget I was in the recliner, and about bust my ass. But he didn't understand. A lot of people don't understand medical lingo, and for him, not at all. They might as well have been speaking Japanese, Chinese, whatever, another foreign language. He didn't understand the things he was saying, and I would sometimes walk out there and crying, and he would think my oldest daughter had made me cry, because sometimes her and I have our little differences, and I just let her take the blame. Sorry that it had to happen that way, but I didn't want him to know I was crying over him, because I was so scared, and the doctor wanted to make sure I knew it was cancer. Wanted to show me how high his number it was. And it didn't make me any less adamant that I was fighting for him, that we were going to beat this. He was going to beat this. I don't care what your numbers say. I don't care what you say. God's the ultimate decider. So even after moving back home, I continued to care for him. as far as getting, all the finances in order, trying to make sure they were staying afloat, that he was seeing the doctors he needed to see. The hospital stays, we would go stay with him, but there was no overnights until he started getting cranky. At the end, he was getting kind of cranky, and the nurses were kind of begging me to stay the night. But got behind on my mortgage. I don't say any of this to brag, and I don't say any of this to have you feel sorry for me. It is what it is. It happened. I got behind. And I had a couple people say, well, didn't you know you had a mortgage payment? Didn't you know you had a car payment? Like, I was sitting here picking my nose or just disregarding I had bills to pay. No, I was trying to save my father's life. I was doing everything and anything I could. I was laser focused on saving his life. So did I notice that I had bills? Yeah, I guess somewhere in there. I mean, trying to remember back, my memory was about saving my dad. I'm sure bills were in there, and I paid the bare minimum to stay afloat, to keep the lights on. Oh, and while my leg was broken, I have 5 grandchildren. My fourth grandchild was on the way. My daughter, who was living here with me, helping to take care of me and her grandfather, was now pregnant and throwing up with morning sickness. And they say when it rains it pours, they ain't kidding. I mean, having my granddaughter is a blessing, but all of that going on at one time, her trying to help me do my hair, help me a little bit with grandpa, she did all the cooking. I was helping him. I could hobble down the hallway to get him his medicine with my crutches and all that, but I couldn't really get at the kitchen sink and cook. I mean, the kitchen stove and cooking oven and all that. So, my house went into foreclosure. Mortgage company wouldn't work with me no matter what I said, no matter what I did. They would not work with me. So, they kept saying they would, and then they'd come back with why they couldn't, and it felt like a freaking game. So I tried to do a GoFundMe. That went over like a lead balloon. Believe it or not, even though you might have people in your circle that could financially help you, they won't. I'm not saying anything bad, but for some reason they won't. Like I said, they have that mindset that, well, you were taking care of your dad, but you knew you had bills to pay. Like, I was just supposed to let him not have any kind of care, or not have the right care, or not do everything I could to save his life. And so I deserved what I was getting. I mean, that's kind of how I was made to feel. And there's no help, like I said on my video yesterday, there's no help for adult children who take care of their parents. There's none at all. And I did nothing wrong. And, in their opinion, I guess they thought I did, that I took care of my parents over paying my bills. I mean, I didn't. What were my choices? No support, except from, close family members. So then, Dad passed away, and we laid him to rest. And Mom was ill before Dad got ill, but Mom, I guess she kind of let her stuff, maybe it was her faith in God, because she was a very strong Christian woman, that she was able to maintain and not be very needy. And I don't mean that in a bad way either, but she didn't ask us for much, and she just, her doctor's appointments and all that. But she had so many, I said it yesterday, comorbids, like her kidneys were failing. The diabetes was causing congestive heart failure. She had, they said COPD, but I don't think it was. I think it might have just been her lungs were giving out because it's a muscle, your lungs a muscle, and when you're not walking and moving, you're not using that muscle, so that's not good. But she really went down after Dad passed. Memory got worse. Maybe we're saying that was probably grief, and it probably was, and maybe that's a protective way our body helps us not realize that, they were married for 60 years when he passed. So then the hospital stay started with her, and rehabs, and you've got to be there. You really do, because if you don't stay with your parents when they're in the hospital and or rehab, I seen it with my dad, I seen it with my mom. The nurses and doctors and all that, a lot of them will just let them sit in soiled diapers or Depends or whatever you want to call them. I hate saying diapers. My parents didn't like saying that I said that, but Soil depends. I mean, you might have to call the nurse 15 times before she'll come and make sure she changes them, or gets a CNA or whatever they're called to change them. And when you're in the rehabs, you got to make sure they're giving them the right medicine, that they're getting them up, that they're making them do rehab, that they're doing what they're supposed to do, because you can't you're not allowed to force a senior to do anything. But these are life-saving things that they need to have forced upon them to get up and move and do that. So if you're not on them 24/7, I wouldn't have had my parents as long as I did. I really wouldn't. So she made it from the first rehab, and I brought her here and got her enough on her feet to go home. All the while, I'm in foreclosure. And let me tell you that when your granddaughter lives here, let's fast forward. My granddaughter's 5 now. And in the last few years, she's made a comment about how much she loves her house, how much she loves her room. My daughter and my son-in-law live here. It's so expensive. It's too expensive for them to find a place. And I bought this place on my own. I paid the bills on my own. I've been a single mom. They help me out, but once you get so far down, they don't have the kind of money I have to get back up. So, my granddaughter runs around saying she loves her house, she loves her room, and every time she says stuff like that, it just tears at my heart, because I'm like, it'll be my fault if she's on the street. It'll be my fault if my granddaughter don't have her room or her house, because I failed. And like I said, there's people out there that you ask for help that you've known them all your life. They can help you. They have the income to help you. Won't even offer you $5. So if that happens to you, don't take it personal. They'll brag about how Christian they are, and they'll brag about doing what's right and helping their fellow man, but they won't help a friend, somebody they've known forever. But then you'll get money or help from somebody that you barely talk to, and it just came out of the blue, and they offer you help, and you're like, wow, this person helps me, and I don't even talk to them that much. We're not even that close of friends. And the people that you thought would help you will let you down. You got to do it yourself. I mean, maybe you won't have that. Gosh forbid you even have to get into the circumstances I did. But if you do, maybe you've got different friends, and maybe you got people that'll help you. I've even got family members that have the financial means to help me. I had a couple help me, I'm not gonna lie. A couple friends, a couple family members, but most of them will just, she did it to herself. I mean, it's like I'm a drug addict, and I took the drugs too long, and I got behind on my bills. I got ailing parents that I was taking care of, broke my leg. Situations that happen, and I'm a single mom, single woman. I'm with somebody now, but that's after all this. He was with me, when my mom passed, but a lot of the damage had been done before we got together, or back together. We had been together before. But yeah, and then here's another kicker. When you file bankruptcy, it does have a stigma attached to it. People think that you failed somehow because you're filing bankruptcy. No, you're saving your home. Keeping a roof over your head, because it ain't easy. And I'm not 20 or 30 years old anymore, and prices in Florida, I live in Florida, they're not cheap to go out and buy another house. But people feel like they failed, and people will sometimes look down on them for filing bankruptcy. And with me being an insurance agent, I could tell you that there's companies that won't appoint me now that I have bankruptcy, because now I'm a potential risk, aka thief, because I'm having a hard time, so I might steal. So there's that, you know what I mean? Not only are you feeling bad, not only are you fighting, tooth and nail to save your home and what you got, but you got people looking down on you, and people that want to appoint you for insurance, to sell insurance, because you're a potential thief, because you're in a bad situation. And, you're doing whatever you can to keep your home, to keep the foreclosure. And let me tell you about foreclosure. Once you go in foreclosure, everybody and their mother, especially investors and all these people, will find out you're there, and the phone doesn't stop ringing. People want to buy your house. People send you things in the mail. They want to buy your house. Everybody wants to buy your house. And when you tell them you're not interested, they're like, but you're in foreclosure, you're going to lose it anyway. Well, it says you. They don't know they're dealing with a fighter. I told you what kind of fighter I was for my mom and dad. I'm not going to lose my home. You watch me. I bought this home alone as a single mom with 2 kids. I'm not going to lose it now. Trust me on that one. And then if you get rude with them because they're persistent, they're like, oh, no wonder you're in the situation you're in. Why? Because I'm standing up for myself and telling you to kiss my ass? It makes you hard, makes you stronger, and it makes you hard. But they'll call you and they'll call you and they'll call you. I mean, I answer the phone with all kind of stupid crap. I say that I'm, Joe Schmo and all kind of other stuff because I don't want to hear them. And then there's telemarketers trying to sell me insurance. That's a video I'm going to do too to help you guys about what happens with those telemarketers. But, and then the payments are kind of steep once you get into a foreclosure, bankruptcy type of deal. The payments you got to pay to keep your home are up there. They're hefty. So now you got a new bill, but I mean, in the state of Florida, you go out and find somewhere to rent the size of my house, it'd be that or more. So you got to pay this foreclosure monthly thing, but that you have every month. And I was already in the foreclosure when Mom went down and stayed almost 4 months in the hospital. The last time, the first time she was in the hospital, 3 weeks or close to a month, something like that, and then rehab for maybe 2 months. But this time, back and forth from rehab to hospital, that's a whole other story. Oh my God, but like I said, you've got to watch your family when they're there. But, so going through bankruptcy, I got a little bit behind again, trying to take care of Mom. And none of this, when I say it, do I mean blame to either one of my parents. I would do it again if I could have them back. But, I got behind on I had to reinstate my foreclosure. I had to reinstate my bankruptcy, excuse me. Almost had to beg them to keep my case open. Sorry I got behind. Mom got sick and died. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. So I say that to say this because I'm getting ready to end this video. If there's questions, if I can answer any more of your questions, but love your parents while you got them. And even if it requires you to take care of them, do what you can. My mom would tell me at the end, my dad would too, oh, I'm such a pain in the ass. I'm such a pain in the ass. I don't want to be a burden. I'm like, are you kidding? You raised me. You took care of me. You are not a burden to me. I am glad to take care of you. And I would do it again if God gave them back to me. So enjoy your parents. Take care of them. Do what you got to do. And, maybe someday I can help figure out a way to help people that are in my situation. Maybe an organization to help adult parents who take care of their kids adult kids who take care of their parents, because the hospitals and the rehabs and all that, they really don't look after them. Some once in a while you run across some nurses and doctors that are really good in care, but for the most part, if you're not there, they just, I think they think they're to a certain age, and if they go, they go. That's how they made me feel. Sorry, my coffee's getting cold. I don't like cold coffee. But it's a hard road to hoe, and I'm still hoeing that road, or however you say that. Maybe I'm saying wrong. So I'm trying to grow this channel. And I will grow this channel. I will be successful. And like I told you yesterday, I'm doing my TikTok channel too, because I've got bills to pay and I got to support myself. But I also want to get this information. I want to help people. So if you're in this situation, you haven't done anything wrong, and don't let people make you feel you have. If people don't help you, it's not you, it's them. For whatever reason, they don't have that kindness in their heart. They'll tell you that, hold on a minute, that happened yesterday too. So that's a telemarketer, and we'll go into those telemarketers. I'm gonna make a video about the telemarketers because I'm gonna tell you about that too. But they'll go on vacations and trips and do all kinds of stuff like that and not offer you anything to help you. But it's not you, it's them. Because once I get to where I'm on my own 2 feet again, I will help people who need my help. Here's another thing too. The one thing I have taken away from this, and it's not a insult to my parents, I have a small life insurance company policy right now. It would definitely take care of my final expenses and leave my 2 daughters a little something. And I got a medical check to get a larger policy, because in the event that, and I want to get to a point where I have money to put aside to pay those premiums in case if I were to get something like my parents. In the event I was to get that sick, that one of my daughters had to look after me, and I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I want to give them something to ride the tide while they're taking care of me, and not go under. And even though I have this stuff, I want to maybe prepay for all my final expenses stuff too, so that that's already done and they don't have to go pick all that out, because that's a bummer. But I've learned I'm going to make sure that everything that my final stuff is paid for, and then if my daughters have to take care of me for whatever reason, I've got some money for them to take care of me, because it's already hard enough to take care of a loved one, just trying to wing it. But at least if you have some financial backing back there, and you can just dedicate loving and videotaping and hugging and sitting there and just holding their hand and being there all the time, because that's what really counts and that's what matters. And I hope I didn't bore you with this video, but if you have to go through bankruptcy, don't be ashamed. If it keeps your home, do what you gotta do. Be a fighter. I'm a fighter. I will continue to be a fighter. And if you got any comments for me, leave them for me. If I can give you any help, I will. Please like, subscribe, and share my videos. It'll help me grow. And I appreciate you being on. And I have Daydreaming with Debbie on TikTok too. You can follow me there. I make lip sync videos there. I kind of make that one my fun one. I did ask for prayers for my mom when she was sick. But anyway, like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for taking the time to watch me today. And if there's anything I can do, if there's any questions I can answer for you, I'd be more than happy to. Have a blessed day, guys. Bye.